Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Azul International School's virtual class. Today, we'll be taking reading. As you can see here from the title, the story is called Exploring Space with an Astronaut. From the title, you can tell that we'll be talking about the space. Now, do you know what space is? I believe that space is a very interesting topic. Have you ever thought of going into the space, learning about the space? It's very fun. Think about it. Picture the space. The space is filled with galaxies, planets, stars, and other things. Why is it called space? Why do you think it's called space? Because it's mostly empty. We say space when there's something empty. Space is mostly empty. It's the universe. Now I believe this story is gonna be a fun one. You're gonna like it. I just want you to pay good attention. If you remember last year, we took something called the genre. We said it's important to know before reading the story the genre of the story. The genre is the type of literature. It is the kind of story. Before reading something, it is important to me to know what am I about to read. Is it something that is scary? Is it something that is funny? Is it something that is informative? It is filled with information. Fiction, non-fiction, mystery, fantasy. This text is an expository text, meaning that it tells facts and details about people, things, events. It tells about things that happen, things that are true, facts. Like, it is a fact that you are a student in Azul International School. It is a fact that you are in grade 2. These are all facts. So an expository text, any expository text tells facts about a certain topic. Usually it is divided into paragraphs. Okay, its structure is not like a story. Okay, a story includes events. There's the beginning, there's the middle, there's the ending. It tells all the events are related to each other, but this tells more about information related to the topic. So what do you expect here? It's information about the space. Let's start. Liftoff. What does liftoff mean? It means to take off. What is takeoff? Have you heard about takeoff? Takeoff is like when the airplane takes off. It leaves the ground. So here, take off. A space shuttle climbs high into the sky. Inside the shuttle, astronauts are on their way to learn more about space. So see here, this is a space shuttle. It climbs into the sky. Inside this shuttle, there are astronauts, people who are called astronauts. They are on their way to know about the space. So who is the astronaut? An astronaut is a person who goes into space. Do you think anyone can go to space? Can I go to space? Can you go to space? Can the engineer, can the doctor, can the driver, can anyone go to space? No, certain people go to space. Who are they? They're called astronauts. Astronauts are the people who go into space. Astronauts fly on a space shuttle. Do they fly on an airplane? Do they fly on a car? No, they fly on something. What is it? It is the space shuttle. This is the space shuttle. The space shuttle takes off just like a rocket. It lands like an airplane. It's important to know about these two terms. You'll use them a lot in your life. Takes off, lands. Takes off is to leave the ground. See here? Like the airplane, it leaves the ground, it takes off. It lands, it goes into the ground. It lands in the ground. Okay, so the same happens with the shuttle. It takes off like the airplane and it lands. Eileen Collins, let's meet Eileen Collins, is an astronaut. She was the first woman to be a space shuttle pilot. She was also the first woman to be the leader of a space shuttle trip. She is an astronaut. We said astronauts are the people who go to space. What's special about her? She was the first woman to be a pilot. You know who's the pilot in the space shuttle? Like the captain in the airplane, the person who controls, the person who is flying the space shuttle. This is the pilot. She was the first woman to be a space shuttle pilot. Can you believe that? She was also the first woman to be the leader of a space shuttle trip. She was the first person to guide a group of people, a team. She was the leader of this team in the trip. So who was she? She was the first pilot woman, and she was the first leader as a woman. Usually men are the leaders of the trip and they are the pilots of the space shuttle, but she was able to be the first woman to become the pilot of a space shuttle and the leader of a trip. She and four other astronauts worked as a team. Some astronauts flew the space shuttle, others did experiments. She worked as a team, like this. This is the team, with other astronauts. They were split into groups. There were a group who flew the space shuttle, who were in the space shuttle, and the other group did experiments. Do you know what experiments is? Experiments are the tests that are made. You do these tests to know about something, to prove something, to discover something. See here, like the experiments that you did in your science class, the sink and float experiment. Do you remember it? This is an example of the experiment. So there are astronauts who do experiments, and there are other astronauts who go into a space shuttle trip. They fly the space shuttle. How do astronauts live in space? In the space shuttle, do you think astronauts are standing, okay, in the space shuttle? Or they're sitting? No, they float. They float everywhere. They move. Remember sink and float that you took in science? Float, do you know what float is? Float is to move, okay? Sleeping bags are tied to walls. Because everything is moving in the space shuttle, it's floating, nothing is standing still, they tie the sleeping bags. See the sleeping bags where they sleep on? These are the sleeping bags. Toilets, even the toilets have a type of seat belt. This seat belt. Okay, so that it's in the toilet so that they would fasten the seat belt. Do you need a seat belt in the toilet here? No, it is needed in the space shuttle because there is no gravity. They're floating. I'm going to be telling you about what gravity is. Astronauts exercise to stay strong. They take sponge baths to keep clean. They need these sponge baths to clean themselves. Why do astronauts go into space? Why do you think they go there? Astronauts test ways to live and work in a world that is very different from Earth. They want to explore something that is different, completely different from Earth. They want to know about something they're not familiar about. In space, there is no up and down. Now, unlike Earth, space, there's nothing that is up and down. There's no air, and the sun is always shining. See here how the atmosphere is, it's different from Earth. How the astronauts are living. There's no up and down, there's no air. The sun is always, there's always sun. Astronauts do experiments. They look for problems and fix them. What do astronauts do in the experiments? They look for the problems and they try to find solutions to them. They fix them. This will make, why do they do that? To make space travel safer. So that the next trip they go, it would be safe.